Is the camera on? It's on? Okay. Hi, my name's Eric. Welcome to Elite Car Audio. This week we're doing an iPad installation into a 2004 Dodge Ram pickup. Come on, let's go check it out. Okay, so this is it. I know a lot of you guys are going to be upset because you're seeing the finished product. However, I will try to go through as much as possible and kind of disassemble a little bit of the how-tos, and at the end of this video I will show you some stills of the actual construction. As you can see, 04 Dodge Ram. One of the most important things I feel is the vehicle itself. Can it accommodate something as large as an iPad? Now, the Dodge is absolutely perfect. There's already factory seaming all the way around, so this center section can be removed, built, and reinstalled out of the vehicle. It also gives us, like I said, perfect seaming. So we're not trying to create any seams in the dash, which makes the fit and finish a lot better, in my opinion. Now, of course, the iPad needs to be removed. So my initial thought was I want to motorize the whole center section out to gain us access to the iPad. I don't want it to rotate out sideways. I don't want it to be fixed mount with an exposed seam at all times. So it's motorized, a slot in the side as you can see, at which point I can slide the iPad out of the dock and use it on a day-to-day basis. So essentially what you're seeing here is a complete unit that was built from scratch that houses all my stock controls, a dock in the base of this which ties it into the stereo system. I also added a back panel so I can access the inner workings of it if need be. The docking that I used is this piece here is actually a home kit stripped down, and the reason I used it is because it has an extremely aggressive right angle dock, which allowed me to use a very thin frame. At which point this is just an aftermarket Scotia adapter, which gives me audio, video, power and ground, so that when it's docked it will charge and give me my audio output. The motorization I used is, most people would use what's called a linear actuator, which is fine. They're very strong, they're very smooth, they're a little bit long, and this is one of the shortest ones I could find at a 2-inch throw, which would have been perfect, but these are extremely loud. So what I ended up using is a motor assembly out of a ceiling mount flip down video system that I come across that was defective. I pulled the motor assembly out of it. The beauty of it is it's extremely quiet. It's clutched, which means when it gets to its full throw it will not continue to try to push. And it's extremely short. It's actually I guess you could call it a perpendicular mount motor, so it's actually driven like, a lever style, which for mounting purposes made it really easy. The other design aspect that I wanted to achieve was a lot of people will, if you watch YouTube, elect to have a framing that goes essentially to the black border of the iPad, which is fine. It gives you a thick frame and also forces you to notch out the button. And for me, it didn't have very good symmetry, so I went with a thinner frame, which to me gives it a little bit more of a modern, streamlined look, and it has good symmetry, so both sides are equal. There's no notch involved. Plus, as far back as I had to set the iPad due to the curves of the dash, it just would look really funny. Now a lot of you will notice that I have a couple of, these are actually Pack Audio. It's a LC1, it's a low level gain control. For the audio out, you literally can do as simple as running the audio out through this potentiometer for volume, and I have one over here for sub control. And it's not bad. However, if you want to do any type of EQing, I strongly recommend using a processor. This is a bit 10, so either the Audison bit 10 or the bit 1 are my personal preference, and primarily because of that, of a master volume control. I actually tried a couple other processors, the MS8, which is great, but if it doesn't have a master volume, it really sucks. Okay, a couple of things I want to note about the construction of this piece that really caused me a lot of grief, because I had to try this a couple times. Initially, I built a solid filler piece with all of the curves and the contours, and there's a lot of them. There's top, sides, bottom. It rolls this way, it rolls this way, and then I decided to do the inner cutting, the routering, which was a big mistake. Essentially, I started out with two laminated piece of 3/4 inch MDF, so it was an inch and a half thick. The reason that was such a problem, because once you have these rolls and you try to router out this center section, running your block through a router that's curved is next to impossible to get a straight line. So big mistake. So make sure you do all of your inner routering first, and then mold it into the dash and give you all your rolls. One of the big mistakes I made, definitely learned my lesson. And the finished piece, I also recommend you glass coating. This particular piece has, of course, the MDF. It has some Duraglass, some Bondo, so there's a multitude of different materials. Anytime you try to primer and paint over different surfaces, at some point one's going to shrink differently than the other, and you'll start to see the lines or the texture. So by glass coating it, it's definitely a lot more work. Do 2 to 3 coats, sanding, fine sanding in between each coat, and then do your primering and painting. I elected to go with this finish primarily because if you know the Dodge Ram interior, it's very monotone. It's just gray on gray on gray. A lot of people will elect to do like a silver coloring or something like that, but in this particular vehicle that would have really stood out, and I didn't want that. I wanted more of a stock appearance with just a hint of bling. So I went with the gloss paint, but I went with the interior color, just to offset a little bit, but to give it a little bit of that bling factor, but to still look kind of stock.
Stop in 3, 2, 1.
Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Had a lot of fun doing it. Hope you like it. If you guys have any questions or anything, just give me a shout, and I'll be happy to try to answer them for you. But good luck building your own.